Part 3 covers delivering natural gas to the area of Los Angeles for the first time. Los Angeles had no gas except for a small amount of manufactured gas, mainly for lighting. The source was from the Kern County oil fields. This was an immeasurable engineering task, especially over the nearly impassable Tehachapi Range. Southern California Gas Company and Midwest Gas Company met Kerckhoff's goal. Kerckhoff formed the San Joaquin Light and Power Company with the ambition of converting the San Joaquin area into a rich agricultural valley through the means of inexpensive electricity from his planned hydroelectric plants on the North Fork of the San Joaquin River, and supplementing the demand through steam-generated electrical plants. This would be accomplished through a network of transmission and distribution lines totaling about 6,000 miles of lines. From their first year to 1931, the gross earnings increased 100 times. Natural gas was dissipated into the air by the millions of cubic feet, for there was no use for it, a total loss. This was the driving force which compelled Mr. Kerckhoff to construct a pipeline through the steep Tehachapi Mountains. Los Angeles at this time was manufacturing a small supply of artificial gas. The properties were acquired and the Kerckhoff's Midway Gas Company was organized for the purpose of transporting the natural gas from the oil fields in the Taft area to Los Angeles, a distance of 120 miles. Also, in 1910, Southern California Gas Company had been formed as a public utility. The aforementioned were easy obstacles compared with the 120 miles separating one from success. The Tehachapi Mountains were miles of the most desolate, rugged, ridged range, which had been a natural barrier to California for centuries. This terrain had to be crossed, and it was at an exorbitant expense. The 453-foot-long tunnel represented a Herculean task of hard work, utilizing teams of horses and mules. Remember, up until the mid-1920s, motor vehicles were very limited by the degree of the grade. The gasoline from the fuel tank flowed by gravity and air pressure to the carburetor. On steep grades, the fuel tank would be lower than the carburetor, which explains why photos of vehicles were going in reverse on steep incline grades. All of the material extracted from the tunnel, the pipe, and equipment were hauled by the use of mules and horses. Note the pipes ready to be joined. The first delivery of gas was on April 28, 1913, a crowning victory. Or was it? So little was known of the reaction of natural gas to other materials. It was found that the gas, within a short period, had rotted the packing of all of the pipe joints. The lines had to be reconstructed. To put it in perspective, this was one of the longest pipelines in the U.S. at that time. After the pipeline construction was completed, the California highway known as the Ridge Route followed this same route through the tunnel. A vast, enormous change from Edward Beale's cut. Numerous oil fields were discovered in Los Angeles and Ventura counties, and a network of pipelines were delivering gas at about 210 million cubic feet per day. It has been said that this was more gas than was used by either the cities of New York or London. Mr. Kerckhoff succeeded through bond issues and loans. The fact that he never failed had to be a factor in addition to his known integrity and reliability in receiving funding. Projects that William Kerckhoff accomplished were so innocently and so honestly completed based on a man's word of honor. His word was his bond. Midway Gas Company and Southern California Gas Company were combined in 1928, and they served 201,700 consumers through 4,275 miles of pipelines. The value of these properties had increased from $860,000 in 1908 to about $60 million in January 1928. As Henry O'Melveny wrote, "The time was propitious, for Los Angeles without cheap fuel, factories could not exist." It was an example of his foresight. It is important to note that due to Mr. Kerckhoff's failing health, on November 1, 1927, Messrs. Kerckhoff, Balch, and Ben Myers, the three largest owners of stock in Southern California Gas Company and their associates, sold their stock holdings to Southern California Gas Corporation and realized a handsome profit. Mr. O'Melveny wrote of his friend and business associate, "Mr. Kerckhoff ended a continuous period of 36 years devoted to the public utilities of gas and electricity." Alan C. Balch joined Mr. Kerckhoff in 1898 and followed him through to the end. He was a very able right-hand man and always presented an engineering balance to William Kerckhoff's enterprises. In 1902, William Kerckhoff and Alan C. Balch acquired Fresno Electric Light Company through a foreclosure sale. Abe Haas, Casper Cohn, and two other longtime associates of Mr. Kerckhoff also joined. The assets purchased were conveyed to a new entity, San Joaquin Power Company, which included this small hydroelectric powerhouse designated as Number 1. Later, a new, larger hydroelectric plant was built next to the original, and both were designated as number 1. This early display of San Joaquin Light and Power Corporation facilities shows 7 powerhouses, 2 dams, plus a steam plant in Bakersfield, and another at Midway. The San Joaquin River, starting at the summit, has a precipitous short drop to the floor of the canyon and debouches out into the valley in Kern County. This provides a unique opportunity to employ the same water numerous times in generating power. Further, the original course of the riverbed ran through forest reserves or unappropriated government lands, thus avoiding delays of settlements, adjustments, and litigation with private ownership. The physical situation was perfect for the development of hydroelectric power. San Joaquin Light and Power Corporation served about 6 million acres. They provided electricity to 7 counties. The Midland County's Public Service Corporation received all of its power wholesale from the San Joaquin Light and Power Corporation. This public service corporation served Fresno, Monterey, San Luis Obispo, and Santa Barbara counties. The Kerckhoff Powerhouse was completed in 1920 as the 11th plant and was named in honor of the founder and president of the San Joaquin Light and Power Corporation. By 1924, they also had 3 steam plants and just under 6,000 miles of transmission and distribution lines. 15 months from the time ground was broken for the Kerckhoff Powerhouse, this great plant of 56,800 horsepower was delivering power to the San Joaquin system. The plant consisted of a concrete arch dam 570 feet long and 125 feet high, which diverted the water of the San Joaquin River through a tunnel cut through solid granite 3.5 miles to the powerhouse. San Joaquin Light and Power's landmark corporate office in Fresno was architecturally outstanding, and the interior was equally beautiful. The top floor was an auditorium. This Fresno skyscraper could be seen for miles, and at night it was brilliantly illuminated with 46 floodlights. The San Joaquin Valley witnessed a booming growth. In 1910, the company was recapitalized at $25 million, and in a little over a decade, the corporate capitalization was increased 6-fold to $150 million. Much of the valley's growth was the result of the proactive effort of this corporation to provide electric power where needed. This increase in capitalization came from the outstanding fact which prevailed that Mr. Kerckhoff's word was his bond. Having never failed, proved that he had this virtue. The men behind this growth: William G. Kerckhoff, President; Alan C. Balch, Vice President; A. G. Wischen, General Manager. Kerckhoff's San Joaquin Light and Power Corporation energized the vast San Joaquin Valley, plus Monterey and Santa Barbara counties, with inexpensive electric power generated from his company's hydroelectric plants on the North Fork of the San Joaquin River. Up until the buildup of the Lend-Lease programs regarding World War II, the citrus industry was California's second-largest industry. Even by 1940, citrus was still within the top 5 of the state's largest industries. As we have traveled together through this video, and we have observed the progress of the sizing machine being driven by muscle strength through a foot treadle as an example of the era, to being powered by electricity. Now before us are photos of the 1930s, which show a photo of the interior of Johnstone Fruit Company in Santa Barbara, an aerial of Strathmore Packing House, the exterior of Lindsay Citrus Growers Association. This was the largest citrus packer in Tulare County. Notice the electric transformers in the foreground. Delivering low-cost electricity to this immense area allowed for sizable growth. Now, remembering you're observing the high number of employees utilized in the packing of citrus, let us next visit the latest in technology, the ultimate in packing of California citrus, located in Kern County. Observe, very few employees. Longest in the world sizing and grading table, 310 feet long. The chain driving this Clementine sizing and grading table is 5 miles long. Electric power yields to the highest in modernity. Order your copy by visiting the website www.citrusroots.com.